Wahoo logo. Some people said, why are they complaining about it now? We haven't heard this before. John in Missouri says, I would think Native Americans are more offended by how they were murdered and forced onto reservations by our federal government, enduring mass alcoholism and crushing property, than some meaningless sports icon. Ooh, there you go. First Light, produced by David Oziel, engineered by the legendary Joe Ardinger. I'm Evan Haining. First Light is a production of Westwood One News.
Ocala Aviation now has opportunities for flight instructors.
Wait, hold on, Brad, is this correct? You're looking for instructors, not students?
Actually, we're looking for both.
Well, that's descriptive.
Well, I need flight instructors because we're now affiliated with a major university and can offer 4-year degrees. Plus, we're also approved to work directly with VA students.
Okay, so a degree in what, and what's a VA student?
Well, it's a bachelor's degree in aeronautics, which includes a commercial pilot's license, and there's financial aid available. By VA students, I mean veterans. They now have access to new benefits to pay for flight training.
Okay, so you have new opportunities for new students. What about the instructor side of it?
Well, with new students, we need more instructors.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
So, if anyone out there is a flight instructor, I want to encourage them to come see me. And if they're not an instructor but have their commercial license, we can help them become an instructor.
So they get their instructor license and have a job too.
Exactly.
So you got a lot going on. The VA, the college, and now hiring instructors and future instructors too.
Yep. So now can we get the commercial started?
Already ahead of you.
Call Brad to get your adventure started today at Ocala Aviation, 861-7484. Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Chris Foster. Immigration and infrastructure, the main items on the agenda for President Trump in his State of the Union address last night.
We have proposed new legislation that will fix our immigration laws and support our ICE and Border Patrol agents. These are great people.
He wants to restrict which family members legal immigrants can sponsor and allow a path to citizenship for some young immigrants brought here illegally. On infrastructure, the president says he wants more money spent and less regulation.
We built the Empire State Building in just 1 year. Isn't it a disgrace that it can now take 10 years just to get a minor permit approved for the building of a simple road?
This was President Trump's first State of the Union address. It was one of the longest ever, just over an hour and 20 minutes. Fox News. We report, you decide.
What happened? You used to go hours without visiting the bathroom. Now it seems like you're constantly getting up to pee. Listen, the makers of Super Beta Prostate are introducing a new wonder pill, Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced, with 3 key ingredients that are great for your prostate. To celebrate, your first 30-day supply is free. Pay shipping and handling. Get P3 Advanced free. Call 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360.
When you're hiring, you want qualified candidates fast, and it can be hard to know where to find them. More than 3 million businesses use Indeed.com, the world's #1 job site. Whether you need entry-level or highly skilled employees, Indeed helps you find great talent and make the right hire. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/promo. That's Indeed.com/promo. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
It's time for the Dunellen Farm Days Antique Tractor and Equipment Show, February 9th and 10th, 6 miles west of Dunellen on State Road 40. Don't miss this fun family event. Entry is just $5 each or $15 for a carload up to 6 people. Children 12 and under are free. There will be craft and food vendors, live music, demonstrations, a petting zoo, children's activities, and more. Again, that's February 9th and 10th for the Dunellen Farm Days. For information, call 352-472-2703, 352-472-2703.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
What do I do now?
After 911, don't worry, call Fakuri. Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic, treating auto injuries for over 32 years. Same-day appointments, immediate medical attention, all under one roof. Don't worry, call Fakuri. Go to bestinjurycare.com. All auto insurances are accepted. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take your call. Car accident? Don't worry, call Fakuri. bestinjurycare.com.
Here are today's headlines from the source, WOCA. The Star Banner is reporting that a 14-year-old girl has been critically injured in a single-vehicle crash on County Road 329. The report, which does not identify the girl, states that the girl was driving a 2004 Hyundai eastbound at 4:55 a.m. and failed to negotiate a curve. The vehicle proceeded off the road and hit a sign and a wooden fence, causing a piece of that fence to crash through the windshield. The girl, who was alone in the vehicle, was impaled by the piece of fence, according to the report. Marion County Fire Rescue units were dispatched to the 4900 block of West County Road 329 at 4:39 a.m. after a 911 caller reported that a dark-colored sedan went off through a ditch and hit a fence, according to a post on Facebook. Firefighters extricated the girl at 5:15 a.m. yesterday, and she was taken by Shands Care 2 helicopter to the University of Florida Health Shands Hospital in Gainesville, listed in critical condition. Remember that huge sinkhole that opened in a Pasco County neighborhood and swallowed a couple of homes last summer? Pasco County commissioners are now considering what to do with that sinkhole. Assistant County Administrator Kevin Guthrie says the community wants it filled in and a road built across it, but he said that is impractical.
After our experts and consultants have looked at it, they are advising strongly against driving any type of piling or whatnot down into the sinkhole, so that we will no longer be able to put that road back through.
Commissioners are considering either keeping the sinkhole fenced in or creating two cul-de-sacs. The Tampa Bay Rays Baseball Club has cut ties with team doctor Michael Riley after a woman published a video on YouTube stating that Riley abused her sexually starting when she was a 14-year-old babysitter. More free speech for speakers and less for hecklers. A committee in the Florida House passed a bill that forbids state colleges and universities from putting controversial speakers in free speech zones. Naples Representative Bob Rommel explains.
Some of our school administrators have decided the First Amendment didn't matter. Do they not believe in the Constitution? What gives them the right to take away any of our God-given right to speak freely?
But Kara Cross with the ACLU says the Campus Free Expression Act steps on the rights of those who disagree with controversial speakers.
The ACLU of Florida has a long history of defending free speech, particularly free speech on college campuses. But this bill is the opposite. It punishes free speech.
The bill allows anyone speaking on campus to sue if student protests disrupt their speech. Had it been law this year, the ACLU says white nationalist Richard Spencer would have been able to sue the University of Florida because he got heckled during his appearance on campus. One person was shot during a home invasion in Dunellen yesterday, according to the Marion County Sheriff's Office. Deputies were called to a residence at Southwest 122nd Court at 2 a.m. When they arrived at the scene, deputies found two people, one with a gunshot wound. The person who had been shot was transported to a hospital in critical condition. The other person, the resident of the home, stayed at the scene. The resident told deputies the person entered the home and a struggle ensued between them. It resulted in the person being shot. Anyone with information about the resident is asked to call police. Activists called on the Florida legislature's Republican leaders to reconsider a proposed sanctuary cities crackdown yesterday. The activists traveled to Tallahassee from across the state for Capital Muslim Day, an annual advocacy event during the 2-month regular legislative session. Hours before yesterday's rally, House Speaker Richard Corcoran, a Republican from Land O'Lakes, released a television advertisement championing the sanctuary cities crackdown that passed the House earlier this month, echoing the concerns of the Muslim activists. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum, the mayor of Tallahassee, one of two cities Corcoran has urged the Department of Homeland Security to investigate for maintaining sanctuary policies, held an afternoon press conference to denounce the speaker. The founder of the Ocala Kidney Group, Dr. Thomas Fuller, has died at the age of 73. Dr. Fuller is credited with establishing Ocala's first nephrology and kidney dialysis center nearly 40 years ago. Fuller is remembered as a doctor who worked tirelessly for the benefit of his patients. Fuller was born in Osceola, Iowa, and raised in Wisconsin. He was one of 4 children. He attended the University of Notre Dame and Northwestern University. His medical residency was completed at the University of Florida, where he met his wife. He completed his fellowship at Southwestern University and the Veterans Administration Hospital in Dallas. Fuller served in the Navy for 2 years as a medical officer. A celebration of life mass will begin at 11:30 a.m. Saturday at Blessed Trinity Catholic Church at 5 Southeast 17th Street here in Ocala. And in lieu of flowers, the family is asking that donations be made to Hospice of Marion County, Blessed Trinity Catholic Church, or the Fuller Nursing Scholarship through the College of Central Florida Foundation. And finally, SpaceX will try to send a communications satellite into orbit this afternoon. The Falcon 9 rocket is set to launch from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. The launch window opens at 4:23 p.m. And in just a week, SpaceX will launch the Falcon Heavy, currently the world's most powerful rocket, from the Space Coast. The February 6th launch will take place from Launch Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center. And those are the headlines from The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
Okay, Ocala, it's time to put on those walking shoes and visit the best Camellia Show spectacular you've ever experienced at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. We're talking about 5.5 acres of blooming camellias, some more than 50 years old, with thousands of bursting multicolored blooms. It's free daily now through April, and you can get your own famous Bob Wine's camellias for as little as $9.99. A super buy, and larger sizes are available. And say if you need to freshen up those azaleas, Bob has Ocala's best, budded and blooming red ruffles, still just $3.99. Other great deals everywhere, so don't miss this show. Bring your family, your out-of-town friends too, daily till 4, Saturdays till 2. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. It's a spectacular on Southeast 38th Street in the same blooming place for 66 years.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. A group of peanut specialists have been meeting to try to figure out what happened late in the season in 2017 that caused the peanut crop to just about die in the field. It was late in the season, but after that storm came through, there were several problems with the crop no one can understand. The partial explanation is that the abundant rainfall and overcast days early in the season affected the development of the roots and may have leached out some of the nutrients. They said this week, we really don't know what happened, but researchers and specialists are united in solving the problem for the growers, especially in northern Florida and South Georgia. They said the best thing you can do next year is include the best practices: rotation, tillage, fertility management, timely irrigation, and pest control. But overall right now, the tri-state meeting has no answers as to why the crop flopped last year late in the season.
It's time again for Florida Agriculture to recognize those who help build the state's agricultural industry. The Florida Agriculture Hall of Fame will soon feature 4 more inductees into their ranks at its annual banquet during the Florida State Fair in Tampa, Tuesday, February 13th. It's time to reserve your seat to honor this year's inductees: Alfonso and Pepe Fanjul, Lowell Lodholtz, and Harold K. Michael. Read their histories at the Florida Ag Hall of Fame website and get your banquet tickets today for Tuesday, February 13th in Tampa.
Register today for the 2018 Georgia Organics Conference and Expo on February 16th through 17th in Augusta, Georgia. Conference attendees will connect with like-minded peers, tour farms, cultivate new skills, and discover 70 exhibit booths with innovative food and agriculture-related information. Georgia Organic members receive a 20% discount, while farmer members receive nearly 50% off. Visit conference.georgiaorganics.org for more information. Ticket sales end February 5th.
I'm Darren Spearman for Southeast AgNet.
The very best in quality is Captain T's Upholstery.
Is that couch cushion sinking lower every time you sit in it? Does your boat look better with the cover on? Has your car's interior seen its better days? Stop using a towel to cover up those rips in the golf cart. Isn't it about time you had it restored to better than new with a custom upholstery from Captain T? Captain T's Upholstery has been right here in Ocala for nearly 20 years, so they know how to make your ride one of a kind. Whether you want to take that classic ride back to a factory look or put your favorite sports team front and center, Captain T's Upholstery is who to call. 352-369-1810. That's 352-369-1810. Or stop by their location, 5030 South Pine Avenue in Ocala, just past the drive-in. And of course, don't forget to visit them on the web, CaptainTUpholstery.com.
The very best in quality is Captain T's Upholstery.
Today in Florida Ag News from the Southeast AgNet. Well, farmers and ranchers from across Florida were at the state capitol this week to discuss public policy issues with Florida state legislators. Florida Farm Bureau President John Hoblick told Southeast AgNet this is an event that is a critical component of their grassroots process.
We're up here to celebrate Farm Bureau Days in Tallahassee. It's our annual trip where we have over 200 members to visit and talk the issues on the Hill and talk with their representatives and let them know where we stand on agriculture issues. And hopefully they carry that to the floor and vote on the bills that support us and vote against the bills that don't help us.
And Hoblick discusses what the top bills are for them in this year's legislative session.
I think the top two bills that are important, you heard the commissioner this morning speak of his two issues, and I'll roll those into one, but I think supporting the department's initiatives are very, very important and critical to the future of Florida agriculture. I think when you look at the rural and family lands, part of that, I think that's really critical because, quite honestly, as he explained and I concur with, is that agriculture is the conservation arm of the land that's left in this state. And so working together to conserve those lands and protect those lands for the values that they have in the environmental world and be able to work those lands and continue to be a functioning agriculture operation, I think is very critical.
For more information, visit floridafarmbureau.org.
Register today for the 2018 Georgia Organics Conference and Expo on February 16th through 17th in Augusta, Georgia. Conference attendees will connect with like-minded peers, tour farms, cultivate new skills, and discover 70 exhibit booths with innovative food and agriculture-related information. Visit conference.georgiaorganics.org for more information. Ticket sales end February 5th.
Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
Saturday, February 17th. Come out to the Circle Square Cultural Center from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. as On Top of the World Communities presents the annual Home Improvement Expo. Representatives from every field of the home improvement industry will be on hand to display their services and answer questions about the latest trends in home designs and remodeling. This free event is sponsored by On Top of the World Communities, 8395 Southwest 80th Street, Ocala.
Ocala Downtown is there to keep you informed. They even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about it. It's simple. 1223 and pick up your copy of the Downtown Ocala newspaper today.
And now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Time to get up. Hey, it's Wednesday, January 31st, 2018. You made it to the middle of the week. It is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock. What are you still doing in bed? Hey, you are listening to WOCA The Source. We are broadcasting live from the Paddock Mall just outside the WOCA commissary, where you too can get a bowl of noodles. A bowl of noodles. Let me look at the weather forecast. Be the amateur weatherman here. 39 degrees is what we have here at the studios right now. 66 the expected high today with mostly sunny skies. Lows tonight down around 44, so not quite as cold as it was the night we're ending right now. Tomorrow, 73 the expected high with partly cloudy skies. About 50 degrees tomorrow night. Friday, 70, again around 50 Friday night. And the weekend looks mild, I would say. 70 is the expected high on Saturday, 75 the expected high on Sunday. Sunday does have some rain mentioned in the forecast. And let's see, so when would be the first day? Oh, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the first day of February. So when is Groundhog? Is that, I think that's the second, right? So anyway, good morning. We will look at the ground hog and the ground beef and all the other ground meat that we produce and consume. Robin is not here. Robin is with her son this morning. She's going to be with him this morning and take him to the airport later on. He lives in New Jersey. He's a grown man, by the way, in case you're wondering. Works and lives in New Jersey, and Robin's had a good time visiting with him this past week. This morning, 7:35, of course, we will talk about the news. I suppose one of the big things would be the State of the Union address from the President of the United States yesterday evening. If you have any comments on that, I do have some sound bites from it that I will share with you. And you can call in and tell me you liked it, you didn't like it, what you thought of it, and et cetera, et cetera. That's what pretty much everybody's doing this morning, especially in the media. And I suppose some of you will be doing it at your jobs and wherever you go in the course of your day. But we do have other news, and oh my gosh, we have a lot of news. There was just a lot of it this morning, just tons of stuff. So I will try my best to get as much of that in as possible. I suspect that the State of the Union address will monopolize a lot of our time. So maybe what I'll do is, if we don't get to everything, I'll try my best to have like another news/chat segment later on in the morning sometime. Galen Unold will be on at 8 to 5. Gosh, I found an interesting topic for Galen. A fact that I never knew is that our blood, Galen is with Life South Blood Center, and our blood contains gold. 0.2 milligrams of gold in our blood. Who knew that? So it was one of many fascinating facts that I wanted to share with Galen. They're not all about gold. They're not all about blood. They're not all about gold either. But since he is the blood guy, I wanted to
share that with him. I presume he knew that already. News Bites, that's at 8:35. That's when I will not be telling you any of my opinions on the news. I will be doing that at 7:35 and elsewhere in the day. But 8:35, if you're a news junkie and you just are fed up with talking heads like myself interjecting their opinion, I don't blame you. I listen to the radio too. Sometimes I get tired of that too. So because of that, we created this 25-minute segment each weekday morning. We get between 25 and 30 stories into that segment for those who've never heard it before, and it is just pure news. It's not recorded. It is live. The show is a live show for the most part. You might hear a recording now and then, but the show is called AM Ocala Live for that very reason. So I will be reading, usually it's Robin and I, but she won't be here today. So I will be reading the news and offering no opportunity to comment on it to myself or to anybody. And there you go. It's a nice way to catch up on the news for 25 minutes. Jim W. and Judy W. will be on the air at 9:05. They don't give us their last names, and the reason is they want to remain anonymous. And the reason they're remaining anonymous is something they will have to explain because I don't understand it. But their book is about being food addicts. They both say they were addicted to food, and I guess there's some shame in that. That's why they don't want to tell us who they are. But Jim and Judy will be talking about the book that they wrote to tell us about how they recovered from being addicted to food. And so that ought to be interesting. Brittany Gibbons is a humorist and the author of the awards-winning humor blog called BrittanyHerself.com. And she's got a book called The Clothes Make the Girl Look Fat. It's Adventures and Agonies in Fashion that Brittany wrote. She's got a Facebook group called Curvy Girl Guide, and she's a TEDx speaker. She's a contributor to the New York Times. It goes on and on and on. But she's also been battling weight, I guess is what you want to say, and then I guess she came to accept the body God gave her, and that's a good thing. I'm not going to complain about that. Joanna Sparrow is on at 10:05. Joanna is a life coach and has a book called Bruised Hearts. It's a book that teaches about learning forgiveness, especially of others. She's got her own radio show called Common Sense Radio. She's a member of the Writers League of Texas, and her credentials go on and on and on. So she'll be on to talk about her book, Bruised Hearts. And then in the studio, oh my gosh, I have seen this guy on the stage at the Ocala Civic Theater numerous times, and every once in a while, you know, when you become, I have, only recently become a regular visitor of the Ocala Civic Theater. Robin has been going to the Ocala Civic Theater on a regular basis, like every show practically, for I would guess 4 decades. I might be wrong about the amount of time she's been doing that, but she's been going there all the time. And I've only really gone like maybe 2 or 3 times in you know the whole time I've lived in Ocala. Well, up until maybe a year ago when I started going to the theater more often because I just thought I wanted to. Anyway, in going to the theater, there's a young man on the stage like frequently, and his name is Dion Bruce Howard, and he just, oh my gosh, he just has caught my attention, and he's a star in my mind, and so he has said yes to Robin's invitation. Well, I asked Robin to ask him, so I guess it's both of our invitations to come into the studio. So Dion Bruce Howard from the Ocala Civic Theater, I don't know anything about him. Oh, Robin gave me some notes. He's a patient services specialist with Florida Cancer Oh, really? And he's a chef. Oh, my gosh. Okay, well, I know him as an actor on stage. And if you saw I Love a Piano, he was in that. If you saw La Cage aux Folles, he was in that. He was the donkey in Shrek, the musical. He was Giles Ralston in The Mousetrap. Joe in 9 to 5, the musical. He was Pablo in Sister Act. Sammy in the Blood Brothers. And he's just been on that stage a whole lot and has made himself a star here in Ocala. So I'm looking forward to meeting him in person. Dion Bruce Howard at 10:35. And then Dr. Scott Freeman is coming on. Dr. Freeman is a biologist. He's written a book, an ecological book, I guess you might say, called Saving Tarboo Creek, We'll find out where Tarboot Creek is when he comes on the air with us. And so that is pretty much all I have. All right, let's push forward, take a break, go to the news from the Fox News Network, and then we'll be back. I do have, the phone lines will be open. We will be talking about the State of the Union address from President Trump yesterday. I'll play some sound bites from that. And if you haven't heard it, it's I boiled it down to maybe about 5 minutes worth of stuff. So, all right, we'll do all of that when we come back. Thank you for listening. We'll be right back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. Immigration and infrastructure, the main items on the agenda for President Trump in his State of the Union address last night.
We have proposed new legislation that will fix our immigration laws and support our ICE and Border Patrol agents. These are great people.
He wants to restrict which family members legal immigrants can sponsor and allow a path to citizenship for some young immigrants brought here illegally. On infrastructure, the president says he wants more money spent and less regulation.
We built the Empire State Building in just 1 year. Isn't it a disgrace that it can now take 10 years just to get a minor permit approved for the building of a simple road?
This was President Trump's first State of the Union address. It was one of the longest ever, just over an hour and 20 minutes. Fox News. We report, you decide.
What happened? You used to go hours without visiting the bathroom. Now it seems like you're constantly getting up to pee. Listen, the makers of Super Beta Prostate are introducing a new wonder pill, Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced, with 3 key ingredients that are great for your prostate. To celebrate, your first 30-day supply is free. Pay shipping and handling. Get P3 Advanced free. Call 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360.
When you're hiring, you want qualified candidates fast, and it can be hard to know where to find them. More than 3 million businesses use Indeed.com, the world's #1 job site. Whether you need entry-level or highly skilled employees, Indeed helps you find great talent and make the right hire. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/promo. That's Indeed.com/promo. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Here is your 30-second news brief. A 14-year-old girl who was driving alone at 4:55 a.m. yesterday has been critically injured in a single-vehicle crash on County Road 329. One person was shot during a home invasion in Denellen yesterday. Activists called on the Florida legislature's Republican leaders to reconsider a proposed sanctuary cities crackdown. The founder of the Ocala Kidney Group, Dr. Thomas Fuller, has died at the age of 73, and SpaceX will send a communications satellite into orbit at 4:23 this afternoon from the Kennedy Space Center. And that is your news brief from The Source.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Wednesday, mostly sunny. Highs in the mid to upper 60s. Patchy clouds Wednesday night. Lows ranging from the mid-40s in the coldest interior spots to the mid-50s along the coast. Partly sunny Thursday and warmer. High 71 to 75. And Friday, a nice day with clouds and sun highs in the low to mid-70s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
What do I do now?
After 911, don't worry, call Fakuri. Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic, treating auto injuries for over 32 years. Same-day appointments, immediate medical attention, all under one roof. Don't worry, call Fakuri. Go to bestinjurycare.com. All auto insurances are accepted. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take your call. Car accident? Don't worry. Call Fakuri. bestinjurycare.com.
It's time for the Denellen Farm Days Antique Tractor and Equipment Show, February 9th and 10th, 6 miles west of Denellen on State Road 40. Don't miss this fun family event. Entry is just $5 each or $15 for a carload up to 6 people. Children 12 and under are free. There will be craft and food vendors, live music, demonstrations, a petting zoo, children's activities, and more. Again, that's February 9th and 10th for the Denellen Farm Days. For information, call 352-472-2703, 252-472-2703.
Greetings, good citizens. Join me, Robin Hood, at the 32nd Annual Hogtown Medieval Fair, January 27th and 28th, and February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the Alachua County Fairgrounds. Join the colorful cast of characters on the streets of Hogtown, where you'll find medieval merriment for the whole family. Cheer on jousting nights, watch a living chess match, or enjoy performances by gypsy dancers and magicians. Then wander through the marketplace where hundreds of artisans sell their medieval wares. Come one, come all to the Hogtown Medieval Fair, funded in part by Visit Gainesville, Alachua County.
Whether it's a car accident, storm damage, or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't happen if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what happens is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit George Mangan Insurance in Ocala today at manganinsurance.com.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
All right, thank you. 24 minutes before 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Wednesday morning. By the way, real quickly, I wanted to mention this regarding the DIY Home Center outlet. They are hiring, and they're looking for somebody to fill a position. It's called a warehouse associate position. You must have forklift experience, and if you'd like the job, you need to apply in person. So let me give you the address. It's 2191 Northwest 10th Street, 2191 Northwest 10th Street. Again, DIY Home Center outlet, hiring for a warehouse associate. You must have forklift experience. Apply in person, 2191 Northwest 10th Street. That's all I know. I don't have any information regarding wages or any of that stuff. You'll have to go over there yourself and apply for the job. Good luck to all of you. All right, let's see. What do we have here? Oh, yes, that's right. There was a State of the Union address yesterday. Should I start with that? I guess I'll start with that. So let's see.
President Trump delivered his first State of the Union address last night. Here are some of the highlights from that address. First, he reflected on his first year in office.
A new tide of optimism was already sweeping across our land. Each day since, we have gone forward with a clear vision and a righteous mission to make America great again for all Americans.
President Trump, in his speech, gave hope to the people in areas struck by disasters, and he did mention Florida.
To everyone still recovering in Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, everywhere, we are with you, we love you, and we always will pull through together. The state of our union is strong because our people are strong.
And of course, Trump touted the economy in his first year.
After years and years of wage stagnation, we are finally seeing rising wages. Our massive tax cuts provide tremendous relief for the middle class and small business. To lower tax rates for hardworking Americans, we nearly doubled the standard deduction for everyone.
And in the State of the Union address, Trump said Americans will have more take-home pay soon.
In April, this will be the last time you will ever file under the old and very broken system, and millions of Americans will have more take-home pay starting next month.
And the president talked about the performance of the stock market.
All business confidence is at an all-time high. The stock market has smashed one record after another, gaining $8 trillion and more in value in just this short period of time. This, in fact, is our new. There has never been a better time to start living the American dream.
And President Trump focused on the infrastructure of the United States.
We will build gleaming new roads, bridges, highways, railways, and waterways all across our land. And we will do it with American heart, American hands, and American grit.
The president also talked about plans on how to handle immigration in the future.
The first pillar of our framework generously offers a path to citizenship for 1.8 million illegal immigrants who were brought here by their parents at a young age.
And he said his plan would limit what they call chain migration.
A single immigrant can bring in virtually unlimited numbers of distant relatives. Under our plan, we focus on the immediate family by limiting sponsorships to spouses and minor children.
President Trump went on to say the coalition to defeat ISIS has been a great success in Iraq and Syria.
I am proud to report that the coalition to defeat ISIS has liberated very close to 100% of the territory just recently held by these killers in Iraq and in Syria.
And the president went on to say we need to be able to interrogate terrorists.
Terrorists who do things like place bombs in civilian hospitals are evil. When possible, we have no choice but to annihilate them. When necessary, we must be able to detain and question them.
In the State of the Union address, President Trump explained an order that he gave to his defense secretary
to re-examine our military detention policy and to keep open the detention facilities in Guantanamo Bay.
And finally, Trump went on to say that the people are what make America great.
The people dreamed this country. The people built this country. And it's the people who are making America great again.
And those are the highlights from yesterday's State of the Union address from President Trump. All right, and thank you to the Florida News Network for making those sound bites available. Anyway, if you would like to call in about the State of the Union address, you are welcome to do so. If you're new to the show, you don't know the number, it's 622-9622. And as you probably know, there's lots of people online expressing their opinions, and I wanted to give you a chance to do that as well. Let me start with the phones, and if I can, I'll get other news in as well, but let's stick with this one right now. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Larry.
Hello, Hugh.
See, he mentioned the fact about improving the rail system, so I don't know, that might stop the rumors about him getting rid of Amtrak and all that other stuff, but I think it's so very, very important with the population increases in certain areas, like in particular, like Florida. I know they're trying this high-speed train thing from Miami to eventually Orlando. I think something like that is so very, very important. And like Europe, because of the great population and smallness of the countries, the size, rail is so much improved there and such an important factor in the lifestyle. And I think eventually this country is going to have to rely more on rail. And I from what he said in the speech, I hope he improved the rail system and also Amtrak.
Well, I don't disagree, and I guess my thought on that is the infrastructure in general it needs a little bit of a do-over, and I think that's good news, the fact that he's doing that. So I appreciate the call, and yeah, I think so. I mean, everybody doesn't agree with you and I, Hugh, on this one. They think that the trains are outdated, but I'm with you. I think we should keep them. Thank you, Hugh. Appreciate the call.
Okay.
All right. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Larry. This is Sonny.
Hey, Sonny.
I thought that was a terrific speech that he gave. I think one of the best State of the Union since Reagan. And that's my opinion. And I agree with you that the rail system that we have in this country, for all practical purposes as far as passengers are concerned, is almost non-existent, or it's 100 years behind date. But it has to be improved, and it's just necessary. I mean, you do have some trips that you can take via rail, but you got to take a plane to get there, like the Grand Canyon Rail Tour, and there's some, the one up in the west, up and down the West Coast, and etc. One time in the early or late 1800s to the early 1900s, you could take light rail or trolley cars from New York City all the way to Boston. You just have to keep, changing trains at various locations.
Yeah.
But, that we did have an extensive rail network at one time. And, it's just, I thought it was a great speech, and he hit on all the major points that I could think of. And, we're lucky to have him as a president, if you ask me.
Yeah,
have a good day.
I'm with you. And the one thing about immigration, in Florida, we have this story regarding protests up in Tallahassee because of the sanctuary city rulings that are starting to take place. And okay, here's what I think about the whole sanctuary city thing, and then I'll go back to the phones. If we have rules regarding immigration, then we have rules regarding immigration. I don't understand how a city can say, I don't care what the rules are. If you break in those rules, you can stay in our city and not have to worry about the law. That to me just doesn't even make sense. And you would think that the statement that those children who are now adults, who were brought here through no fault of their own, who are given a path to, I didn't agree with everything the president said earlier on. I don't mean in yesterday's speech, but I mean early on in his campaign when he was pretty much saying everybody out of here. I didn't agree with that. I was more in line with Marco Rubio's feelings on immigration and immigration reform. But I do think, I mean, to the president's credit, some people call it wishy-washy. I call it, look, he's a negotiator, and he listens to people who he trusts. And when any of us do that, we change our minds when somebody gives us a reason to think something else. And I think he amended his thoughts on immigration in a way that is good, but he didn't go too far, which is also good. And for cities to say, and in the state of Florida, we have this thing, where you are allowed to have a sanctuary city until our legislators, statewide legislators, change that. And you would think that the people would see the reason for that, to keep us safe from people who may have not been vetted properly. And I think that was the whole reason. And I don't mean just vetted because they could be terrorists. Don't start putting that on me. It could be disease. My own mom, when she was 2 years old, had, I think, rubella or one kind of a disease, and her family was immigrating here from Germany. And the family couldn't move over. My grandfather moved and had to wait a year for everything to be cleared up, and for the immigration of people in 1928 to be able to say, all right, come on, you're okay now. So even back then, we had to abide by the rules of immigration. Good morning, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Larry. I just want to comment on the president's speech.
Okay, go ahead.
This is the Democrat. But in any case, I just wanted to say he gave a good speech. That's probably the best, the most focused, and the most organized I've seen President Trump staying on topic. His rhythm and the pointing out of all the different people that came to the speech last night for their different reasons, from crime victims to law enforcement officer adopting the baby with the heroin addiction from the mother, and those types of things. I thought the presentation was great. And so here comes the criticism. I just would say to Hugh, I thank him for mentioning the honest truth, even though Hugh is a conservative and Mark is a proud liberal, Franklin Delano Roosevelt Democrat, that we both agree that the country needs to transition, or at least have the option of United States high-speed rail Japan, when I left Japan in the late 70s, Larry, had trains that went 200 miles an hour. China currently has 14,000 miles of high-speed rail track. They have trains that not only go 200 miles an hour in China, they have trains that go 300 miles an hour in China. Not a lot of them, but all of their high-speed rail trains go at least 200. Speaking of Hugh calling in, so he may already know this, the cars for high-speed rail were being made in Milwaukee. So not only would American workers build the high-speed rail all across the country, from New York, what they want to do is, if people go to UnitedStatesHighSpeedRail.com, they'll see there's a map of what the Americans would like to do with their country. You could take a train from New York to Chicago, and Chicago to San Francisco or Seattle, and then they want to shoot down to Los Angeles, go across to Dallas, and then from Dallas over to Florida. So, in other words, and so what I ask my fellow Americans is, who would be in opposition of something like that? Of course, the oil industry and the auto industry, but the auto industry is going to electric. And so, therefore, we need more electricity in the country. And Mark, the guy that's on the phone with you right now, Larry, is helping build, not right this very minute, nuclear power plants in Georgia. I don't know if you know that we're building 2 plants, and actually that was an Obama project. That was getting ready to be shoved, and Obama came there with $8 billion and kept us right on track with Southern Company. So, in any case, I'll close with this there. I'll get out of your hair. Obama's infrastructure bills, twice he proposed $500 billion for infrastructure. Twice the Republicans blocked him. That left Trump when he walked in the door with $1 trillion check, which he's got a case of good timing. He's going to add $500 billion to it and see what we work out. It puts Americans to work. High-speed rail will create 1 million jobs. That's all I got, Larry.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Union jobs.
Yeah, union jobs. The only thing I have to say about this, and this is going to be contrary to what I feel. What I feel is I would like to see the trains survive. That's what I feel. So I am actually going to be contradicting myself here in this statement, because what Mark said is wonderful if people will ride the trains. In this country, we should have a marketplace mentality where we should not have something that the government pays for that just sits there being unused. Now, I took Amtrak one time in my life. It was during Thanksgiving, and it was packed. So it seems like the public does use the train. But again, maybe because it was Thanksgiving. But my point is this, that if the taxpayer foots the bill for a high-speed rail or for anything for that matter, and then it doesn't carry its own weight, then that's a mistake. That's all I have to say. And that contradicts my feelings, my emotional desire to have a train. But in the practical devil's advocate, I guess, that I'm trying to be right now, the practical devil's advocate says, look, if a private trains company sees a way to make money with it because they see that people will ride it, then, oh, yes, we want that. We definitely want that. But on the other hand, do you want to spend $1 trillion on trains when you could spend them on something else, if in the end that $1 trillion is an expense and not an investment? And that's really all I have to say on that. Let's go to the phone again. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, I have ridden the trains more than once, and I can tell you they're pretty much always full. And I've ridden trains in the middle of nowhere midweek, and they were full. So it's not about not being used.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you told me that. Yeah, and I know you've told me that before, but the principle I was trying to express was that if, the big word if, it's not being used, then taxpayer money probably should stay away from it.
Yeah, all right. My kitty cat is climbing up on me.
Something's going on there.
I'll hang up and wish you all a good morning.
Hey, thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. Yeah, and please understand that there's a big part of me that would love to see all of that stick around. But here's the thing. I would like to say it to Mark and to anybody who likes to pit Democrat against Republican. I believe that intelligent thinking people really have the same end in mind. The same end. In other words, I want to be able to get from Miami to LA in as quick and as easy a transportation as possible. Okay, so that's the goal. The goal is to get across the country, make it quick, make it easy, make it enjoyable. Okay, make it affordable, maybe. How we do that, however, is where we differ. A conservative might say, you can get there, just make sure you pay the price. And pay the train guy or pay the plane guy, or don't let the taxpayer pay for your flight or your train. That's the way the conservatives or the Republicans, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes conservatives are in both parties and liberals are on both parties. So to label it with a party, it just never sits well with me. But a liberal would say, no, tax money should pay for that. And then once it's there, it's the if you build it, they will come mentality. Let me push a button again. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Larry. Mike McCoy.
Hey, Mike.
Larry, I've never had the pleasure of riding the fast trains in China. My wife has, but she says they're like just so quiet and so comfortable, and yet, but I have ridden trains and subways over there. One thing that I did notice over there is that everything is so clean. You don't see profanity or graffiti on the walls of the train stations and the subways like you do here. Everybody, they have pride and ownership, I guess you would say. But I with that, I was actually thinking about what Trump said about the rebuilding our infrastructure. You know, we could use more trains, but we really do need to take care of our train tracks and bridges that we have in this country already, instead of building more. I would love the idea of having a fast train to go from the East Coast to West Coast through Ocala, instead of the idea of, if you want to, right now, the only option you have to get, that I know of, other than Uber, and I don't know who could afford to take Uber to drive to Ormond Beach or Daytona, but from Ocala to Ormond Beach, a bus and would cost you almost, well, with taxes and everything, it probably is $40. $40 to drive to go just to Ormond Beach. And so if you had, let's say you had a family of 4 and you wanted to go over there, do the math, you know. So it's got to be a balance. Yeah, you know, I think Trump has actually he's adapted. He has adapted in the way that he speaks. He was very focused, it seemed, in the way he chose his words, rather than just letting him let it spill out what he was thinking. He thought about what other people wanted to hear, like most politicians do. But I think he was sincere in what he was saying. And we do need to really need to focus on our infrastructure of what we have now, and look for the future, and hopefully the near future, to build more and better fast rail systems.
Yeah, I agree. I think the main thing I was attracted to Trump as a candidate about was the infrastructure comments he made, and I felt like he was more likely to do something about it than Hillary. That was just the way I thought about it, and we only had 2 choices, so.
Well, you know, it's very, very easy. Everybody's saying, well, why doesn't he fix it? How can he fix something that's been we've ignored for 50 years? How can he fix it in 2 years or 1 year? Well, how can he fix it? He can't. He can't do it. He has to build the team to do it, and let's hope that he does. You know?
And I think that's what he was expressing, as far as being something the American people will do. All right, thank you. Appreciate the call.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Anybody else want to call in? I have like a 2-minute window here if you want to try to squeeze one in. Real quickly, and we'll try to do this later on in the morning as well. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Larry.
Good morning.
My name is Helen. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm from New York, and as you know, New York City uses a lot of transportation. Now, I come from New York using Amtrak several times. I've came from New York using Amtrak several times. I'm very disappointed that now we don't have that service.
Yeah, me too.
We have to go to Jacksonville and bus ourselves from Jacksonville into Ocala.
Yes.
We're not given the option. Had we been given the option, I think the demand is there. Obviously, since we don't have the option, we have no other choice but either to fly or drive.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, it's almost the same amount of time driving as it is with the train. Now, if you bus yourself, you're wasting probably another hour. So the smartest thing to do is drive yourself or fly. I also took Amtrak into Sanford, from Virginia into Sanford, and drive from Sanford into Ocala. So yes, there is a demand. However, I think if they try it and let it sit there for a little while to see if the people will use it, it's going to be a positive for all of us.
Well, I remember when Amtrak did stop in Ocala. I don't know if you lived here at that time, but we did have a pretty active train station over there. So I was always perplexed as to why they stopped it. I don't know the reason.
Yes, I lived here in Ocala when it was active.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I feel the same way you do. I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Have a good day.
You're welcome. We are up against a break. Let's take that break, and we will be right back. Galen Unol coming up next. Who knows? Maybe we'll talk about this some more when we get to Galen. I'm sure he has some thoughts on this as well. We will be right back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Here are today's headlines from The Source, WOCA. The Star Banner is reporting that a 14-year-old girl has been critically injured in a single-vehicle crash on County Road 329. The report, which does not identify the girl, states that the girl was driving a 2004 Hyundai eastbound at